Hello students, let us discuss new topic vectors. Right? Vectors, and then we will discuss 3D geometry. As you know, both are somehow same topics, but will be discussed in different language. For some reason we will be first starting with vectors, and then we will be moving on to 3D geometry. Before we start, what is the prerequisite? It's better if we can review matrices and determinants both. Particularly, I want you to revise linear system, solving a linear system, both homogeneous linear system and non-homogeneous linear system. Okay? When does a homogeneous system will have a non-trivial solution? When does a non-homogeneous system will have unique solution, etc., etc. Okay. Now let us start with this topic vectors. So after all, what is a vector? So you can say that vector is a directed line segment. Vector is a directed line segment and a scalar has only magnitude but no direction. For example, if you take a 2D straight line and part of it is line segment AB, but this AB is just the distance between the point A and B. Okay, so there is no fixed direction that is different from A to B or B to B. So that you can say AB distance is a scalar. On the other hand, if you put an arrow like this between A and B, so it is like the vector is going from one point which is called the initial point, you know already, to another point B which is your final point. Since it is going from A to B, we write as AB bar, an arrow over that symbol that denotes vector, AB bar. Similarly, the same line segment, if I put the arrow like this, it is going from here to here. So this is the initial point, and this is your final point. Okay, now it is BA bar instead of AB bar. You can put the complete arrow or you can simply put a line like this. That is the notation for vectors. Okay. So basically the major difference between a quantity, a scalar versus a vector is that scalar will have only magnitude only. On the other hand, vector shall have magnitude as well as direction. And most importantly, there is a third thing called line of support. For example, in the example I have demonstrated, you can see that this vector, though I am writing A to B bar, you can see that it is part of, it is like on this line. This big line of which our vector is a part is what is called line of support. Line of support. Okay? So there are three things when we talk about a vector. Its magnitude. Magnitude is nothing but distance between initial point and final point. So if you say AB bar is the vector, magnitude is usually denoted as mod AB bar. That is nothing but distance between points A and B. It is known as magnitude of vector AB bar. You can also say modulus of the vector. It means the same, modulus or magnitude. Okay. So a vector apart from magnitude direction should also have a line of support. The big line of which our vector is a part. That's it. Now few simple definitions we will look at. We will start with something called a zero vector. Zero vector is when magnitude of that vector. We use the symbol, suppose vector, then the symbol V bar. So 0 vector is mod v equal to 0. When will the modulus or the magnitude will be 0? When v initial, the vector initial point equal to vector, final point. When the initial point and final point are same, there is no other vector, you see a point. That is your 0 vector, null vector. 0 vector or null vector. Unit vector. Vector whose magnitude equal to unit, that is 1. So if v bar mod v bar equal to 1, you say that v bar is unit vector, and usually unit vectors they are represented instead of bar, use cap notation. Unit vectors are usually written with a cap over them, b cap. It's like a cap, b cap, like this. Hat also you can say. So that is the notation for unit vectors. And you know already in physics that given any vector v bar, then any unit vector in the direction of v bar, unit vector in the direction of v bar can be written as v bar by mod v bar. You divide the vector with the magnitude and you get the unit vector. Same unit vector in a direction opposite to v bar. Unit vector in direction opposite to v bar is nothing but minus v bar by mod v bar. Right? So if this is our v bar, then there is unit vector parallel to it or unit vector opposite to it. Two vectors are possible, plus minus v by mod v. Okay? So since I see this is parallel to this is opposite to this, then there is a reason to define some other definitions here. That is, like vectors, unlike vectors. Like vectors means vectors having same sense of direction. Okay, same direction. Vectors having same direction or like vector. This vector, they are like vectors. Okay, so obviously they are parallel also. So you can better put the word parallel vectors having same direction. These are called like vectors, are known as like vectors. Similarly, parallel vectors having opposite direction is known as unlike vectors. Unlike vectors. So, although it is obvious, you can again write what are parallel vectors. Parallel vectors, they shall have same direction again. Suppose this is one vector v1 bar, this is another vector v2 bar. They might have different magnitude. The line of support can be same or different. If the line of support is same, you can also call them as collinear vectors. Suppose this is AB, this is C. AB bar and AC bar, as you can see, they have same line of support. So more appropriate definition to call them is collinear vectors. The vectors having same line of support. The vectors that are sharing same line of support. Okay, so in fact these are specifically called as collinear vectors. And you can also call collinear vectors as parallel vectors. Then there is another thing, anti-parallel vector. So technically there is only few books consider this anti-parallel vector. Otherwise both are said to be parallel only. Anti-parallel as you know, it's like unlike vector. The vector which is parallel to V1, V3 bar, but in opposite direction. That is anti-parallel. But some books prefer to call all of them as parallel only. So they don't have this word called anti-parallel. So if you look at them, these line of supports are basically parallel to each other. line of support of this is this weak line, part of which V1 is there. This is a weak line, part of which V3 is there. This is a weak line, part of which V2 is there. Parallel lines of support. So parallel lines usually have parallel lines of support. But then some people will ask you, collinear vectors, you can also call them as parallel vectors. There is nothing wrong in that. Okay. So on the other hand, their line of support, if you see, it is the same thing. It is the same. For AB bar, AC bar, line of support is same. Okay. So that is about like vector, unlike vector, parallel vector, anti-parallel vector, collinear vector, collinear, or lying on the same line. Okay. Next we have some other definition, co-initial vectors. As the name suggests, co means basically same initial point. So vectors having same initial point, like V1 bar, V2 bar, V3 bar. These are all co-initial vectors. Free vector versus localized vector. Free vector means any vector whose initial point is not specified. Whose initial point is not specified. You can draw that wherever you want to draw in space. Unless stated otherwise, over this topic. Unless stated otherwise, all vectors we deal in this topic, they are free vectors only. Okay? So you can suppose this is one vector V bar. You can draw the same parallel vector V bar and you say this is your V. Okay? Or this is your V. It's not a problem. Right? Since it is not a localized vector. What is a localized vector? Vector that must start at given initial point. Given initial point. That means you cannot draw wherever you want to draw. If I say it must start from this particular point, suppose force acting on some body. So it will act at a particular point only. You can't draw a parallel vector and say force is acting in along this line. No. Right? So this must act at this particular point. Means this is a localized vector. So you can't shift it. The problem is, suppose this is F bar, you can't call this as F bar. That is wrong. Because it is now a localized vector which must pass to given initial point, say E. So these are some boundary conditions. Okay, what is important in the discussion so far is that collinearity. The first thing is collinearity. Second thing is parallel vectors. Okay, for the problem solving purpose. Next. Equal vectors. Equal vectors, when do we say two vectors are equal? Obviously, V1 bar, V2 bar are said to be equal if number one, their magnitude must be same. Number two, their direction, V1 bar must be parallel to V2 bar. Obviously, the collinearity will also come, or you can say V1 bar, V2 bar are collinear. That's it. Either they lie on the same, like this V1 bar, and like this V2 bar. The direction is also same, right? That is also important. Otherwise, they will be anti-parallel. Anti-parallel vector we don't consider as equal vectors. Direction must be same for both. Then you may ask, what about line of support? Line of support can be same or parallel. Line of supports can be either same or parallel. The reason is we can take definitely, like I told you, we are dealing with only free vectors in this topic. So if I say this is AB bar and I draw another vector which is like this, all having same magnitude, but you see these two are only having same direction. So AB bar equal to CD bar, but this is opposite direction. In fact, it will be called negative of. If it is EF bar, then we are happy. So, but it is not EF bar, it is in fact opposite, FE bar. So FE bar can be improved as EF bar, you can see sharply. Okay, so this is the discussion about equal vectors. Right? Note down these points. Magnitude same, direction must be same for both, either parallel or collinear, which also gives you the conclusion that the line of support can be same or parallel. Now, I was saying something here that it is in fact FE bar, but I have written it as minus EF bar, OB bar. Then we have to talk about something called position vector of a point. Position vector of a point. Suppose in space you take x, y, z, 3 axis space we are talking about, not just the plane. Suppose a general point is taken as x, y, z. If z is 0, it will come down to your x, y plane. This is your fixed origin. This is your 3D action. Vectors and 3D are interrelated. So position vector is nothing but the vector. Position vector of a point, or in short P dot V, position vector. PV of a point P. So that is nothing but OP bar. OP bar, which you will resolve along x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. Then only you get these components x, y, z. So you write OP bar as x into I cap, y into j cap, z into k cap. And the magnitude of OP by the definition is the distance between this point and that point. Like you do in Euclidean distance, 2D distance, that distance is extended and it is like simply root over x square plus y square plus z square. If you take a 2D vector, only with x and y, same definition can be applied. OP bar is your position vector PV of the point P, whose coordinates can be given as, this is x and this is y. So this is xi plus yj. That is your OP bar. So definitely magnitude of OP is nothing but your 2D distance between this origin and that point, which is root over x square plus y square. Now when we are discussing vectors, right? So in physics you must be aware of current, right? Current has got some magnitude. It also has got a direction, right? It goes from positive to negative terminal. So can we call current as a vector? No. Current is a tensor. Then what differentiates between a vector and a tensor, though both are possessing magnitude and direction, is the third thing, that every vector must follow addition rules. What are the addition rules? 3 popular things. Vectors must follow addition by way of, number 1, triangle law of addition. Triangle law of addition. And what is that? If you take a triangle, I'll simply write it as AB bar plus BC bar in one direction is exactly equal to the AC bar in the opposite direction, right? AC bar. AB bar plus BC bar is AC bar. Or the simplest way I will suggest you is, you can remember like this, you go in one particular sense throughout clockwise or anti-clockwise sense sum of all vectors around triangle equal to null vector, 0 bar. Not 0. 0 is a scalar, 0 bar is a vector, right? That is what you can say, AB bar plus BC bar plus CA bar is 0. Or you go like this, AC bar plus AB bar plus BA bar is 0. Right? Again you are getting one simple thing here. You can write AB bar plus BC bar as minus CA bar, that is AC bar. So again in the same point, how I am writing AB bar as minus BA bar? So if you look at, take the case of 2D only, for example. You said this is a position vector, say x1 line. There is another position vector x2 y. Now since they have to obey triangle law of addition, since we are talking about vectors, can I say that OP bar plus PQ bar equal to OQ bar or OP plus PQ plus QO is 0 bar? It's the same thing. So therefore, what I can say is the PQ bar is equal to OQ bar minus OP bar. Right? So vector joining 2 points, that is one of them called initial point, other is final point. That is initial point and final point is always given as position vector of final, right? OQ. As you can see, this is the Q, OQ is the position vector of final point minus position vector of initial point. Final minus initial. Okay, so that is your vector. What vector is? The vector going from initial to final point. So just remember this simple thing, that whenever you draw a vector going from one point to another point, so it is always equal to final point equation vector minus initial point equation vector. PV final minus PV initial. That is how we define the vector joining 2 points A to B. So therefore, if I follow that logic and if I say PQ bar is OQ minus OP, right? As you can see, that is x2i plus y2j minus x1i plus y1j. That is x2 minus x1i plus y2 minus y1j. I am talking about 2D. Now QB bar has to go from Q to P. Then only say it is Q, P bar. So final point to PV. PV of P minus PV of Q, which is equal to OP minus OQ. Which is equal to x1i plus y1j minus x2i plus y2j. Which is x1 minus x2 into I plus y1 minus y2 into j. Now compare these two. What you are going to get? PQ bar is equal to negative of QP bar. AB bar is negative of PA bar. Right? Because without this calculation also you can understand AB bar, PA bar, they will have opposite sense of direction. If two vectors have same sense of direction and they are collinear, we can write one vector as lambda into another vector, where lambda will be positive if those two have same direction. If the direction is opposite, lambda will be negative. So we will prove that also. Okay. So triangle of addition is AB bar plus BC bar is AC bar, or around a triangle if you go in either clockwise or anti-clockwise, sum of all the vectors must be 0. Or second thing, which you know in physics, parallelogram law of addition. The second thing is parallelogram law of addition. Remember resultant of two vectors. Suppose you want, there is one vector say A bar, there is another vector say B bar. You put them certain angle. Then how to add these two vectors? Draw a vector parallel to this, passing to this. Draw another vector parallel to this, passing to this, and join these two, for example. This is your A bar plus B bar. This is how you add the two vectors. And suppose it makes an angle theta with A. Tan theta equal to b sin theta, b sin alpha by a plus b cos alpha, where alpha is the angle between these two vectors. I hope you remember this. And magnitude of the resultant mod a plus b is nothing but root over mod a square plus mod b square plus 2 into a dot b, where a dot b is nothing but mod a mod b into cos alpha, where alpha is angle between two vectors. Angle between vectors A bar and B bar. It is also written as bracket. Alpha, angle between two vectors, is also written as bracket A bar comma B bar in this term. That is angle between two vectors. So, using all this by taking projections, I think you already learned this in physics. If the resultant makes an angle alpha with theta with the A bar, then tan theta is going to be equal to B sin alpha by A plus B cos alpha. Okay? Okay, drop a perpendicular and we are just calculating this length upon this length. Right? So that we know. And if we generalize both, then there is something called polygon addition. Hope you remember these two. Okay, and if this is about addition, what about subtraction? Algebraic operation, you have A bar minus B bar also. It is written as A bar plus minus B bar. And you know, if this is A bar, this will be minus A, isn't it? So therefore, in earlier diagram, if this is my AB and this is how you got your A plus B, then how to get A minus B? Draw minus B first. And add A bar and minus B bar. You draw like this, join. This is your A bar minus B bar. Right? So, mod A minus B, magnitude formula, mod A square, mod B square, minus 2 A dot B. Mod A is nothing but root over A1 square plus A2 square. B bar is a vector xi plus yj plus zk in space. Then mod A is written as root over x square plus y square plus z square, etc., which we have already proved. Okay. Now the last thing, the polygon law of addition. If you look at polygon law of addition, what it says is that the way I have defined it for triangle, you can extend that for any polygon. If forces are acting or vectors are acting along the sides of the polygon, imagine, or sum of any given n vectors along a closed polygon, sum of all vectors in clockwise or anti-clockwise one direction. Okay, we can't change the senses. Direction must be 0. Must be 0 around a polygon. Around a polygon. That means V1 bar plus V2 bar plus V3 bar. So I am putting the directions like this. Okay, up to Vn bar equal to 0. Some people will say that the total, suppose this is A1, this is A2, A3, blah blah blah, this is An, and say An plus 1, for example. Then what they will say is that sum of all these vectors V1, V2 up to Vn bar, Vn minus 1 bar in fact, sum of the vectors Then sum of the vectors along n minus 1 sides, is equal to the vector in the opposite direction if you close the polygon. That is, you take this term to this side, you get minus Vn bar. That's all. That is nothing but Vn bar is going from A to A1, so it is A1 to A1. So if you want to write in terms of the vertices, you can say A1 A2 bar, A2 A3 bar, up to A n minus 1 An bar is equal to negative of An A1, that is A1 A. Close the polygon in the opposite direction. But my simple point is, I always remember like this, that you travel around the polygon, whether it is a triangle, quadrilateral, rectangle, whatever it is, around the polygon the total sum should be 0. That's 0 1. So that is the easiest one to follow. So that is how we can define vectors: addition, subtraction, and finding their magnitudes, etc. Now, most importantly, let us mark a point here P. Say this is x1 y1 in 2D, or let us call this position vector of the point P as A bar, which means the P bar is A bar. Let us mark another point here whose position vector is B bar. That is, this is your B bar. Okay. Now PQ bar is nothing but B bar minus A bar, position vector of final point minus position vector of initial point. Now instead of this, suppose the same P A bar is there, join with Q B bar, you got a line. I want to get any point on the line. Or you take some point R which divides the segment PR RQ in M:n ratio. That is, we are talking about section formula. And directly the point which divides the PQ in ratio M:n internally. This is dividing PQ in M:n internally. So that is given by position vector. This position vector, which is O R bar, is given by M into B bar plus N into A bar upon M plus here. And we know exactly the harmonic conjugate will be there somewhere here, which divides PS is to QS. PS is to QS is also M:n but external division. Then how to give position vector for that point OS bar? OS bar is given as M into B bar minus N into A bar by M minus N. So you can see it's exactly like in your coordinate geometry. So that is your section formula we need to apply. Next, most important thing is collinearity condition. Suppose you say AB bar and say AC bar. AB bar, AC bar are collinear vectors. Immediately, what type of relation we can form among them? Right? So you see that AB bar, AC bar, they are collinear. So AC bar magnitude equal to AB plus BC. Suppose this magnitude is alpha, this magnitude is beta. So we can see this is alpha plus beta. Now AC bar, and you can see the B, the point B divides AC internally in the ratio alpha is to beta. So OB bar I can write as, suppose the position vector is A bar here, C bar here. OB bar position vector can be written as, this ratio is alpha is to beta. So alpha into C bar, beta into A bar upon alpha plus beta. Let us call this position vector as B bar. So that should be B bar, which means alpha C bar plus beta A bar is beta B bar into alpha plus beta. What I am trying to prove here, your AB bar, now is going to be OB minus OA, which is B bar minus A bar, and your AC bar is going to be OC minus OA, which is C bar minus A bar. But you see here, the C bar from this alpha C bar equal to B bar into alpha plus beta minus beta into A bar, or C bar can be written as B bar into alpha plus beta by, I want to connect these two, B minus A, C minus A I want. So what I am going to do is I will do one thing, I will write it as B bar alpha, B bar beta minus beta A bar, and take alpha common, C bar minus B bar is beta into B bar minus A bar, and B bar minus A bar is nothing but your AB bar, and C bar minus B bar I can write it as C bar minus A bar plus A bar minus B bar. This is alpha into C minus A, C bar minus alpha into B minus A, AB bar is beta into AB bar, which means what I am trying to prove here is that AC bar equal to alpha plus beta by alpha into AB bar. This is the most important working rule, that is when you say that there are two vectors leaving off this bar bars or section formula, what is the conclusion you need to make? If AB bar, AC bar are collinear, then the working rule is that you can write one vector. Of course, I can do this division, please see this, I can do this division only if alpha not equal to 0. Or technically I can say that then there must exist a relation between AB and BC such that lambda 1 AB bar will be lambda 2 AC bar. If lambda 1 not equal to 0, then we can write AB bar as lambda 2 by lambda 1 some scalar into AC bar. If lambda 2 not equal to 0, you can write AC bar as lambda 1 by lambda 2 some other scalar into AB bar. So the important conclusion throughout this discussion is that through section formula one can prove that whenever there are collinear vectors, there must be one vector must be scalar multiple of another vector. So collinear vectors have property that one vector is scalar multiple. This is the working rule we are going to use in the problem solving. Another vector. So if I say V1 bar, V2 bar are collinear vectors, then definitely there must exist a relation lambda 1 V1 bar, lambda 2 V2 bar is 0 bar. Or you can say that lambda 1 V1 bar is lambda 2 V2 bar. Okay. So some scalar. If lambda 1 is non-zero, then you can divide by this. Lambda 2 non-zero, you can divide by this. So therefore, for practical purpose, we write V2 bar as some lambda into V1. Some scalar. Or you can say V1 bar equal to some lambda into V2 bar. So that is the working rule we are going to use in problem solving. So let us solve. The JEE mains question. So the JEE mains question based on this what they have given is that consider the vectors, three vectors A bar, B bar, C bar of which no two are collinear. Actually, before I say this thing, one important thing. Since the conclusion, technical conclusion is that ideally the collinearity relation is lambda 1 V1 bar plus lambda 2 V2 bar is 0 bar. Then there exists at least one pair lambda 1 comma lambda 2 such that is not equal to 0 0. Okay. if V1 bar, V2 bar are collinear. That is the total conclusion. What about the contrary? That is if V1, V2 are not collinear vectors, but still if we write linear combination lambda 1 V1 bar plus lambda 2 V2 bar, it is called linear combination. Some scalar multiple of one vector added to another scalar multiple of another vector, etc., etc. So it's a linear combination of two vectors. Linear combination of two vectors becoming 0. Two vectors. Three vectors means there should be one more plus lambda 3 we will continue all those things. So if lambda 1 V1 bar plus lambda 2 V2 bar is 0. Is 0. What I am saying, these are non-collinear. Not collinear. Then definitely if they are not collinear, you cannot write one vector as scalar multiple of another vector. But here I am saying there exists a linear combination such that lambda 1 V1 plus lambda 2 V2 is 0, where V1 V2 themselves are not collinear. Then only possibility is that lambda 1 must be equal to lambda 2 must be equal to 0. For an example, I plus j is not collinear. No, I plus j is not collinear with I. So, if I say lambda 1 into I plus j plus lambda 2 into I is 0, then only conclusion you can see by even comparing I coefficient to j coefficient also, you can realize that lambda 1 equal to lambda 2 equal to 0. So in this topic majorly we should focus about collinearity and coplanarity. So that is why we are spending so much time on understanding collinearity. Most importantly, what is the working rule to handle collinearity? If I say V1 is lambda into V2, then definitely I can say these two are collinear, right? So if they are not collinear, the problem is lambda can't be infinity. Lambda must be a real scalar, right? So on the other hand, lambda 1 V1, that is why we always write like lambda 1 V1 is lambda 2 V2. Or take that to here, write lambda 1 V1 plus lambda 2 V2 is 0. Okay? So if these two are not collinear, then both their quotient lambda 1 and lambda 2 must be 0. But if I write an ordered pair lambda 1 lambda 2 such that that ordered pair is not equal to 0, 0, that is what is called non-trivial solution of linear homogeneous system in matrices. Lambda 1, lambda 2 not equal to 0, 0. This type of notation will ensure that at least one of the lambda 1, lambda 2 is not equal to 0. If both are equal to 0, then what is the conclusion? 0 into one vector, 0 into another vector is 0 does not demand the collinearity of V1 and V2. They can be, anyway what they wish to. But if they are collinear, definitely you can write, since you can write one vector as scalar multiple of another vector, so at least one of these lambda 1 or lambda 2 will not be equal to 0. Ideally both should not be 0. That's the request. Okay? So only one working rule is that if they are collinear, you can write one vector as lambda into another vector. Okay? If V1, V2 are not collinear and still, and we write that lambda 1 V1 bar plus lambda 2 V2 bar is 0 bar, implies only possibility is that lambda 1 equal to lambda 2 equal to 0. Otherwise, it will force collinearity argument. Now, based on this, let us work out our JEE main problem. That is, if A bar, B bar, C bar are three non-zero vectors, this is also important because you can still argue with me that okay, V bar is lambda, V1 bar is lambda into V2 bar. Does this always forces collinearity? One can say that okay, what if one of them, V1 bar for example, is a zero vector? Then lambda will be definitely 0. right? If lambda is 0, so there are two possibilities, either lambda 0 or lambda not equal to 0 will force this V2 as 0. Since both are 0, 0, they must be collinear. Suppose lambda itself 0, V2 not equal to 0. V2 not equal to 0. Then lambda must be equal to 0. But then you can see one coefficient here which is V1 bar coefficient. So if I write lambda 1, lambda 2 ordered where it is 1 comma 0, still it is not equal to 0 from 0. Okay. So if ABC are three non-zero vectors, to eliminate all these nonsense, they usually say that they are non-zero vectors. Such that no two of them are collinear, but A bar plus B bar is collinear with C bar. Collinear with C bar. And C bar plus, for example, B bar is collinear with A bar. Then find the resultant of three vectors A bar plus B bar plus C bar. So this was the exact JEE mains question they have asked based on this concept. Okay, so what we are going to do, first of all read the first statement. They are non-zero vectors, it's okay. But what they said,